Okay. I took a few minutes this morning and actually swept up and cleaned up some of my work area. Took care of some tools that I know I won't be using anymore. Now it's time to get to work. I'm pretty sure I dreamt about doing work on this thing last night, which is not an uncommon place in my mind. And I got thinking, to make room for that steering, you can see the 7/8 inch hole or 1 inch hole in that back plate that I also have to cut off. But I did cut off the front plate for the axle mount. I'd like to tell you that anything's reversible and I could always put this frame back to stock, but in reality, I'm pretty sure I'm just going to keep going on the build. If something breaks or something doesn't work, I'm just going to stay persistent. And this most likely will never plow a garden again. So as long as I can get the muffler out and do service work on numerous things, I think I've come to the decision that like this trailing arm mount, it can be welded to the tractor. The support for the steering, it can be welded to the tractor. This whole front cradle assembly, I'm going to keep it as a bolt-on for mainly one reason, and that's serviceability. I doubt that's going to go anywhere, and if it does, I'll fix it, but I'm pretty sure that's good for now. All right, it is sitting on its own, supported, and well-to-do. So I want to give those mounts, that heavy wall 1 inch tubing, a little bit more structure. And for now, I cut those two lengths of tubing. So this tubing that I'm going to use for the lateral struts on the trailing arms is about 170 thousandths thick. And there, I stuck it in my manual press and crushed it. And while I was crushing it, it put a nice bend in it and pretty much gave me a perfect shot. So I'm going to weld the end of that shut, and then I can just do my drilling on this end, drill it through, slide it on, weld it, drill some holes, bolt it. All right, I'm liking this. Now, as always, the hard part will be duplicate it and do the other side, along with making a little brace from there up to underneath the belt guard and underneath the line of travel of the belt. But that general idea, give this thing a lot of support, is basically what I'm saying. So this is the press that I'm talking about, and there's my lever, just an old die bar right now. But you can see how this is not on the same plane as the press, and I'm just gonna keep on doing this until that tube is flat. All right, the only thing left to do is bolt them up on the front, and they are done. This side I had to do a little customizing, and I just used my press and a couple sacrificial 3/8 inch nuts and a couple plates of steel. I did it right there. I just put the plates of steel on the back side and pushed on the press, and it made a mark. It made a little crease, but like I said, this is like 170 thousandths wall tubing, so those are not going to hurt it in any way. Well, there, I've got that all triangulated. I've got holes started. I'm going to take it apart and then start drilling through. I've decided I'm just going to, for now, see if it'll work, just tap the yellow tubing with some probably 3/8 coarse thread bolts. Like I say, we'll see how long that lasts. If it shows sign of being loose or pulling apart or anything else, then I'll address that when the time comes. But otherwise, this is done on this side, and also on this side. Same thing over there. I've just spotted my hole, got it started into the tube, and then once I pull everything apart, I will drill and tap that. I still need to mount my CDI box. I haven't been able to figure out a good place or way to put it. I might end up just using some zip strips through those holes and make one big loop and just mount it right where it should be. But otherwise, the threads that are in those little rubber bushings just aren't working out for anything. So thanks again for watching. I'm gonna get this front end pulled off and maybe even pull the engine out so I can weld up some of those steering mount braces like I was talking about. Well, one thing's for sure, it doesn't take me very long to make a mess. I've got the whole front clip all welded up. It is ready to go back in. I have drilled and tapped those holes and drilled those ones all the way through. So those will all go back together nice. But I pulled the engine out and now I have access to the plate that I made that's going to be welded in both sides of the frame and across the little bit of the frame rails. And being that it's at an angle and the fact that it's a 1/4 inch thick, that steering shaft is going to have all kinds of support. My steering support is done. And now it's time to throw that thing back in, hopefully assemble for the last time. I do have a few more things I got to weld, like that, and the back side of this tube. I'm probably just going to take the tire off so I can get to that. I've got to work on the pulley. The drive pulley needs a keyway in it, and maybe see if I can hook up the brakes. They are all intact right there. I think I just need a pull rod from where you can see the spring right there, that hole, down to the brake assembly. And then I would have brakes. And right there, I need to put some lube in that transmission. I'm pretty sure it's dry, and I want to make sure that it is well filled up before I start hogging on things. Speaking of hogging, hey, there's a broken drill bit. It was the last hole I drilled on that steering mount.